Hi, I'm Tato Chip, and today I'm going to be doing a flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator inspired by Burr from the Burr Pit, taking off from Chivenar Airfield, which is a little military base. It's on the Bristol Channel, and heading over to Lundy Island. Burr did a flight here recently, and it looked pretty neat, so I want to go check it out for myself. And as you can see, the weather is really crappy. If this were real life, I would probably not be taking the Savage Cub over here. So basically, I just picked a heading. I think it was about a 280, 290 heading, and just flew that for about 12 minutes, see if I could find the island. And partway over, I was messing around trying to get a better view of my fuel tank and accidentally trimmed all full nose down and nearly put it in the water there. Luckily I was able to react and pitch it up and get the trim resituated, but I made sure to get my controls sorted once I got there. And after flying for around 10-12 minutes or so, finally found the island. And I made my way over to it. Came around the east side and just kind of circled the landing area. Just kind of scouted out, get my bearings. You can kind of see the patch of grass off to the left here. It's kind of that lighter patch of grass. It's just past the road there. So the runway, it looks like it kind of goes at an angle from that road down towards that building that just got covered up by my wingtip. And I guess that's like an old lighthouse building or something. At least that's what it was. I was going off of what I saw on Google Maps because it's not on the sectional charts, so there really isn't a ton of information to it. So just kind of set myself up on a downwind here. And that way I can come around and land going uphill. I actually didn't really do much due diligence and didn't really get a good accurate wind information. Like there was no weather service at the airport that I took off at. The live weather didn't really give me, like, at least not from what I could see, it didn't give me any actual like wind conditions. I just like fast forwarded the time so I could make it light. But I ended up kind of coming in high here. It's a sketchy approach. Like definitely if I was doing this real life, I would have gone around from this approach, come back and tried it again. But I just said, screw it, aggressive slip. And pretty much on speed, but I should have probably feathered in a little power, and I kind of bounced it a little bit. And also I had the camera offset, so it was like really weird trying to get the plane lined up. Finally got the camera recentered. I hadn't played since like late November, so I was kind of forgetting some of the controls, and my camera reset was setting it off to the side for some reason. So I was not satisfied with that landing and decided to take off again and turn around and come back and give it another shot. So I just took off. I just turned around and took off downhill, which, you know, barring any major headwinds or anything, that's just the way I would do it if I were gonna go here for real. If you have a decent slope, you generally want to take off going downhill. It only helps you. So I just make a quick turn to the right, follow that for a little bit, and then off to the left. And I could tell the wind was coming from kind of like the southeast-ish. Definitely from my right as far as when I'm landing, so I was having to use a little bit of crosswind correction. But I really was super weak on my crosswind correction today. Wasn't super proud of it. It's something I gotta practice with. It's definitely one of those skills that kind of can deteriorate over time. Like I know what to do, I just wasn't doing a very good job of it today for whatever reason. come back down and stuck it on, but it was still kind of a more firm landing than I would like. Really could have just added a little power there to kind of slow down the descent rate. And because I didn't like that one, I decided to do one more. So this time I kind of took my time, flew out a little bit, and on this one you can see I can actually feather in a little bit of power to adjust the descent rate. So I'm using pitch to try to maintain a steady airspeed. I'm slowly bleeding off airspeeds while also slowly slowing down my vertical speed. About 400 feet per minute when I touched down. Could have been going a little slower. And again, really not enough crosswind correction. I actually rode up on the downwind wheel, which is it's bad technique. And before I took off again, I got my camera controls figured out so that way I could check my fuel situation. And it looks like, I'm assuming those are liters, so I had about 15 liters in the tank on each side. So I figured that's plenty enough for me to get back. This thing only burns like 3 to 4 gallons an hour in cruise. And I just decided to take off facing the other way to kind of just see the other side of the island. And I figured that was also about the direction the wind was coming from, so that would only help me on the takeoff go in that direction. So I did a little circle over the island, said goodbye, picked up about a 110 heading, and then just flew that back until I found land. And about 12 minutes later or so, found this little peninsula here, and I was using SkyVector for the VFR charts. And then once I kind of figured out where I was at, I knew that I was a little bit north of the airfield, and so I just kind of turned right and headed south, just followed the coastline. Eventually, after flying down the coastline for a few minutes, spotted myself a runway. You can kind of see it off in the distance there with the lights. And set myself up on a downwind for runway 27. And kind of made a little bit of a wide approach. It ended up working out though, because the wind was coming from the kind of the southeast. So as I was on my base leg here, I picked up a little bit of ground speed, got pushed a little bit over the center line, but I was able to correct it. This would be so much easier if I'd used VR. But I don't even know how well my computer could run this with VR. I didn't want to risk melting my graphics card into a pilot's flag. As you can see, I overshot a little bit, so I pick a slightly more aggressive crab angle towards the wind to get lined up back on the center line of the runway. I noticed the runway has X's on it. Is this airport closed in real life, or is this just like old terrain data? Let me know if you know. I'm curious. And a little kind of like the weakest crosswind correction. I just like barely touched a wheel on the center line. I should have been much more centered than that, and it was still kind of a firm landing. And slowly let the tail down. I'm a little weeble wobbly because I'm using the twist on my stick for the rudder, and it tends to be a little bit sensitive. And so I was also unsatisfied with that landing, so I decided to come in for one more. Got it nice and slow coming in, aiming for the X. And just landed a little bit past it. About the same amount of centerline control. Could use a little bit more, but yeah, it'll give me something to practice. So thanks for giving the ID for this flight, Burr. I really appreciate it. I've been Tato Chip. Until next time, have a good one.